Washington, along with their volunteer cast, and our narrator, Mr. Tim Richardson. You're going to be treated to a what if, a dramatization of what it might have been to be able to eavesdrop on that fateful day when the Bowie knife was first ordered and first starting to take its place in what would become our heritage here in Arkansas. I'll turn it over to our narrator, Mr. Tim Richardson.
Thank you. Well, good day, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's our pleasure today to present a skit in 2 scenes about the origin of the Bowie knife. As you know, that knife is legendary, and as such, its origin has numerous variations. Our desire today is to give a clear and realistic dramatization and a picture of what may have happened in James Black's shop in 1830. We cannot be certain of the details, hence this disclaimer. However, we wanted to present this drama in hopes that it's not only fairly accurate and entertaining, but informative as well. James Bowie.
Good day, sir. Would you be the craftsman of the hunting knives that I've heard so much about in this area?
You have indeed entered the humble blacksmith shop, whose proprietor has forged a few such knives. Although bladesmithing is not my primary occupation, I am a blacksmith and a silver plater, and I have produced a considerable number of tools for farming as well as for hunting. I'm James Black.
And I'm Jim Bowie. Yes, you are the man I have been searching for.
Oh, you are the legend, Jim Bowie, not I. The Vidalia knife fight on the sandbar on the Mississippi a few years back to your name on many lips here locally.
James Bowie was indeed shot at least twice and stabbed repeatedly at the Vidalia sandbar duel, which by 1830, just 3 years after it occurred, had become widely talked about and written about. In the skirmish, Bowie was shot in the lower chest, after which he drew his large knife and chased a man named Major Norris Wright. During this confrontation, Bowie was also shot in the thigh and subsequently stabbed repeatedly with a sword cane. But still, he fought on with what was described as a large butcher knife.
So, Mr. Bowie, what are you doing out here in our fine little community? I heard that you were cut up and shot pretty bad. Did you ever heal up?
Well, sir, that fight did happen 3 years ago, so certainly I'm about as fit as a fiddle now.
Well, now, I'd also read when you were up north with Sam Houston.
News sure does travel fast in y'all's area, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
Well, yes, I was with Mr. Houston for a couple of weeks, and with my business being accomplished, I'm now about to go southwest, so look for future business opportunities. I stopped over here, and I'm actually at y'all's tavern for the night, and come tomorrow, should my horse and mule be thoroughly rested, I shall depart for that destination with utmost haste. Before then, I wanted to see if Mr. Black here could do a knife that I've been wanting to have made for many years.
You have your sketch, your model with you, I assume?
I do, sir. The tip itself, I want to be keen and sharp and tough to survive the passage of time. Many of the knives that I've owned, the tip is broken in one way or another. I guess you can say that they just don't know how their master's going to use them.
Well, congratulations, Mr. Bowie, on your fine specifications here. I'm a bit astonished as I have recently sketched out a knife quite similar to the one depicted in your model. I see great utility and merit in what you envision here. Although I have a few practical suggestions from a forging point of view, how soon will you require such an instrument should you hire me to make it?
Well, I'll be back in y'all's settlement within a fortnight. Should the Almighty and more importantly the Fairman grant me safe passage. Last time I crossed the Red was on my horse in December. As much as it pained me, I can't imagine how it was for the horse.
Well then, with your permission and your approval, I shall forge 2 knives. One exactly as you have specified in your excellent model, and a similar one with my own specifications, combining our ideas to advantage.
Well, sir, given that option, I do believe I will commission you to make that knife. Until then, adios all.
I know you can see. I know you. He was the one who set us up for those first chickens.
How old are you now?
Well, as far as those
As you recall from scene 1 of our skit, Jim Bowie departed for a sojourn across the Red River and down into Texas, doing some land speculation and courting. About 2 months later, he returned, and that is the subject matter of this scene too. Upon his arrival at James Black's shop, as you see, the same laborers, J.W. Cleve and John, occupy their places, and James Black stands there at his anvil.
Well, hello there, Mr. Black. Howdy, gentlemen. Nice to see you again.
Welcome back to Washington, Mr. Bowie. I suggest your journey was a safe and pleasant one.
Well, there wasn't much hassle except for a band of Choctaws. Luckily for me, they were only one jerky and tobacco. Fortunately for me, I had neither, so I was able to trade a Mexican scarf and a skin of dried beans for my scalp. Was there, how's the progress on our collaboration that we made?
So here's the knife, exactly as you have specified in your excellent model. And here is the knife I forged with my own modification.
Well, sir, I'd have to say that your knife is as close to the perfect as man can get under heaven. The handle itself is mighty beautiful, though I honestly do not understand the shape that you've done. Why a coffin?
Well, the coffin-shaped handle is something I enjoy making from the abundant black walnut wood of our region. As a silver plater, one of my conceits is to pin the handle in silver here,
I did notice that.
to band the blade at the handle and to shroud the coffin in silver. I suppose you've noticed grove after grove of stately black walnut trees in our town.
One would have to be blind not to.
Well, I keep a good supply of the fine wood behind my shop. As you can feel, it's a smooth wood. It's dense and takes and holds a patina very well. As to the coffin-shaped handle, I suppose that speaks for itself. He who has one of these peeking out above his belt or his scabbard should not be trifled with, or he may end up in a coffin.
Well, sir, I think this knife I'd have to choose. I would be more comfortable going down southwest to do my land speculations, and even more confident within my belt going for the hand of Miss Ursula Udindi, daughter of the mayor of San Antonio. Yes, sir. I'll take this one. How much would you have for it?
Oh, I think we can come to a fair price.
Well, now, if the price is right, I think one of the two, if I had that coffin stick down my belt, nobody would do that for me. And I need a coffin. Well, you know what I need, a coffin.
Me too, James. I would want just like this to do it, except
Think I want to do here, take this thing tonight and carry it down to St. Louis if you want. I can put up my house.
In those days, guns for protection were not always as reliable as one would hope. And men carried knives for protection, especially once larger populations traveled the rivers and trails. No one knew this better than James Bowie as he traveled the Natchez Trace. Bowie was an interesting man in his time, a renowned and brave fighter who went to Mexican Texas to escape his creditors in the United States. He became famous due to his fights and legendary knives, but once fighting broke out in Texas, he soon became known as a solid leader and who could keep a cool head under fire. His lasting fame, however, came about as a result of his presence at the fateful Battle of the Alamo. In death, he became a great hero, and today he is widely revered in Texas. The city of Bowie and Bowie County, both in Texas, are named after him, and countless schools, businesses, and parks. After Bowie's death in 1836, Black did a brisk business selling his knives to pioneers bound for Texas. Many seemed to want a knife like Bowie.